It's a great pleasure. Later we'll be talking about a festival in Kinkin, but first, Santa Claus is about to gain a new image among Australian children if a Sunshine Coast mother, Maree Birch, has her way. Maree has written and illustrated a new children's book. It's called Christmas Down Under. And gone are Santa's hot red suit, boots and gloves, and instead he's portrayed as a sort of an elderly surfie in board shorts and singlet. He leaves his sleigh at the South Pole and opts for a surfboard pulled by kangaroos. Here's Maree talking with Wayne Glindeman.
Maree, what is the book all about?
Well, the title's fairly self-explanatory. It's Christmas Down Under, and it's an Australian Christmas story. I think probably one of the first.
And what gave you the idea to write this book?
Well, last Christmas, I've got three boys under 8 years of age. I've always made up stories and done little drawings and things for them. But last Christmas, my son, who was 5 at the time, was lying in bed. I had them all geared up for Christmas. I'd read them all the Northern Hemisphere Christmas stories because that's about all you could buy, with the snowy roofs and what have you, and had them all primed up for it because I love Christmas too. And he lay in bed with the ceiling fan going and said, "Oh, Mummy, I hope it snows tonight." And I went to bed. I said to him, "No, darling, you know, I'd rather get into a hefty conversation about how the sun revolves around the earth and the earth on its axis and how the climate changes in different parts of the world." I went to bed thinking this is crazy. You know, the kids of the Southern Hemisphere are constantly bombarded with this snow scene. You know, all the cartoons, all the books, everything that you get about Christmas is snow. And he really felt that it couldn't actually be Christmas, or it'd make it a hell of a lot better if it was snowing. So the rhyme came into my head. I've always made up rhymes and ditties and things. And I thought, this is really good. So I got up at 12:30 that night and I wrote it down. And when I read it the next morning, it was still good. And I read it to the children. And they sort of started jumping up and down and clapping their hands and saying, "Oh, wow, this is really great. Do it into a book." So I put some pictures next to it. Some friends saw it. And it really has just snowballed from there. Everybody said, "Oh, look, this is fantastic. It's what a great idea. It's 200 years overdue. Why don't you put it into a book, try and get it published, etc." So, and that's how it's grown.
Is this your first book?
Yes, it's the first book. I did actually write, after I wrote Christmas Down Under, I wrote 3 books. There's 2 more to come, which I hope will be published next year, Dan's Christmas and Christmas Cleanup.
And how is the reaction to the book going on the bookshelves?
Well, amazing. You know, absolutely amazing. People, as I said, I think a seed has been sitting in people's minds in Australia for years, and I think this says it, and it's suddenly germinated, and everybody's going, "Oh, wow, this is a great idea." Not just the children, but it seems to be coming from the adults too, particularly teenagers. I mean, it is an under 8 book, it's a child's book, but it seems to be generating that same sort of smiley, "Oh, this is terrific" sort of response in older people as well.
So do you think this might replace some of the more traditional Christmas stories in Australia?
Well, originally I didn't set out to do that. I'm not trying to change tradition. I'm a great stickler for tradition. I get up and cook that turkey. On a stinking hot day, I have the tree. I don't have salads on the beach like some people do. I'm a big stickler for Christmas. I love it. But the way people are reacting, yes, maybe this snow thing is a bit crazy. I am deleting the snow, and there's no error about that, but I'm deleting something that was never here in the first place. Snow's never been in Australia. There's never been snow, so you can't take away something that's never been here.
And how far afield is it being distributed?
Well, this year we're concentrating mainly on the Sunshine Coast of Queensland. There has been some books sent to Fremantle, because I think it's a fabulous souvenir item, which it's proved people are buying not just one for themselves, they're buying some to send overseas, because once you send one koala bear, no one wants 2. So it's an easy postage sort of thing. As well as 300 or so copies have gone down to Sydney to go along with the pantomime, which I've written. Dan's Christmas has been put to a pantomime this year, and a Sydney dance company is performing that in Sydney for this Christmas. And some of the books have gone down there for sale at the pantomime.
So where do you go from here?
Well, hopefully, if this is a success it looks like being, I'd like to get the other 2 books published, because really Dan's Christmas is my favourite. It incorporates some of the lovely Australian bush animals, and it's about the dog character that comes up in Christmas Down Under. Once again, they're Australian scenes. It's still very Christmassy, but it's a hot time. The children aren't dressed up in dressing gowns. There's a sun shining, clothes on the line, green grass. There's not a piece of snow anywhere in any of my stories.
So do you see this as a new career for you?
Yes, I probably do. It's something I really enjoyed doing, and from years of rearing children and, you know, having a career in a totally different field. I was a nurse and a school teacher before I got married, and then I've devoted the last sort of 11 years of my marriage to rearing children and looking after my husband and enjoying that too. But as I said, I really like this writing business and the drawing, and it's been very enjoyable.
Yes, Maree Birch there talking with Wayne Glindeman, who's always believed in Santa Claus. And he's a bit of an elderly surfie himself. Actually, that's quite an interesting concept, isn't it? That Santa Claus down under. That's great. Well, now thousands of people are expected to